Hi. How are you? Good. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Mike. A video of Stefan Diggs has gotten a lot of traction in the last 24 hours or so. He's on a boat having a good time, but the question comes in as to a certain substance that people are guessing what is and isn't. Is this something that the team has to look into?
Well, it's something that we're aware of, and obviously we want to make great decisions on and off the field. And we're hoping that with our time here on the field today, and that when we don't have a script and we're on the call-up periods, that we're making great decisions. And so the message will be the same for all our players, that we're trying to make great decisions, and any conversations that I've had with Stefan will remain between him and I and the club.
Have you talked to him since the video?
I talk to our players every single day, the ones that are here and the ones that aren't.
Are you expecting him to practice today, Mike?
Not if he's not here.
So he's not here.
You guys will find out in a minute. But no, again.
He was here last week, according to a video.
Everything that we're going to do, Karen, is we're going to coach the guys that show up at 8. And the ones that say, hey, I got a situation, we'll be here at 8:05. We'll coach those as well. This is a voluntary part of our off-season program. And every player that's not here, which there aren't many, have been in communication with me and their position coaches.
I was just going to ask, based on what you've seen from the times he's been around, how would you say he's progressing?
Again, the timelines and the prognosis and everything again, we're working hard to get him back and to be ready to go. But you know, when he's here, we'll coach him and we'll have everything ready to go.
Mike, any updates on Terrell?
No, just that he continues to, like our players, work hard to get back, and excited to have him back. Again, the communication that I see every day with him and the players in their meetings and in the Zoom meeting, and I know that he's excited, and hopefully we'll get him back here sooner rather than later.
Mike, last time we were out here for practice, Drake had a few interceptions. Do you care? How do you view moments like that on a practice field?
I think that I care about every player's performance and that we continue to improve, and that there has been great improvement over, the day. Everybody's going to have a bad day. There's a lot of reasons that, go into it. We're not going to analyze every single practice and have explanations for things that came up, but the command, the operation, all those things have continued to improve. And I don't know who asked me, but what I thought would be a successful day, and then sure enough, I told you those things weren't going to happen. So hopefully the operation, the communication today, the execution has got to be better. We only have so many of these opportunities, and I'm hopeful that in front of us, the crowd of media, that we have a better day.
Mike, do you feel like the defense, it's fair to say at this point, is further along in their install and process in the offense? And if so, how big is the gap there?
Well, I don't think that they're further along. I think that it's probably, this is hard. This is a hard time in the spring when every pass play is, 3rd and 10. I mean, it's just they're pass rushing, they're pressuring, they're blitzing, which is great. We have to be able to block and see everything, but it is a passing camp, and it didn't take the, Keon and KC and Christian and Milt and Harold long to figure that out. So it's kind of is what it is, which is good. And then again, they know how to practice. We have to be able to speed and pass rush, and then stay away from the quarterback, get out of the way, stay off the ground. All those things that they've been able to do over the course of, the first 4 OTAs.
We saw that Ramondre was, we talked about it last week, that he was absent. And then we saw a photo posted by the team that he was back at practice. Just what was it like to get him back in the mix of things?
Well, it's great to have everybody here. I want to support him through this process the best that we can. And that's probably a little bit more difficult. He doesn't know us as well. And so his communication, I appreciate it. And but it's great to have him back, and then we'll kind of work him along, make sure that he's ready to get out there. So I don't know how much you'll see him in some of the live team action. I don't think that's fair to him to just throw him back out there, but there's certainly a return to play like a lot of players will have throughout the course of the year.
Mike,
When you have a wide receiver, a lot of new faces on the team this year, players, coaches, how much of a focus this spring is team building and just getting guys to learn each other because there are so many new faces?
I think that's important. I think the execution is also important. The ability to work with another player out on the field, a guy next to you. Linemen are going to move around, have to pop in a different position. Quarterbacks are going to have to throw to different players. But I certainly think that part of this process of playing this game is about building relationships and connections with players and coaches alike.
Mike, will you have a leading voice in Drake's development this year? Someone to...
I will have, I hope, a voice in every player's development on our football team.
Is it? I mean, generally, like, would it be like you? Would it be Josh? Do you guys have sort of one voice that's going to take the lead, or is it going to be more collaborative?
I think when I have something to say to Drake, I'll say it, and I think when Josh wants to put plays in that can help him or explain what the read is, there's going to be things that I'm not going to be as knowledgeable at when it relates to quarterbacks. But I think that there'll be some other things where I can help them, and we don't have it scripted out. That's kind of our job, is to kind of figure out what to say and when to say it.
Mike, you have a lot of numbers in the wide receiver room. Over the course of time, how do you separate?
With the same number of everybody else in the National Football League.
Right, but how
we addressed that last week.
When you watch these guys, what are you looking for that separates them from what you want?
Do they know what to do? Can they line up? Can they catch the ball? Can they help the quarterback? That they play and they finish and they transition when they don't, how fast they play when they don't have the football in their hands. So some of that stuff we can see in the spring, and a lot of that stuff will materialize once we get to training camp.
Mike, you got last year going into last year, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, were generally recognized as two of the better safety tandems in the league. Mapu's back there, you added Epps. We're going to talk to Peppers later on today. Do you feel good about that safety rotation? Are you sorting out how they're going to be, what they're going to do?
I don't think anybody's really sorted out anything as far as roles on this football team yet. I like the people. I like the players. I haven't seen Duggar on the field just because he's working through something, which is not uncommon in the spring. Love Jabril's energy. I like his passion for the game. I like his energy when he comes in the building. Those things are all very positive. And then the new players and the new additions are trying to carve out a role as well.
Impression of Cole Strange so far? I saw it last week, sort of rotating at both guard spots as opposed to center. Just how has he done this early?
It's hard to really identify the lineman. It's a lot of pass protection, and it's a quick whistle, and there's no pads on. So again, Cole's working extremely hard. The versatility that he'll be able to display is something that'll be critical.
You mentioned some of the things you want to see out of wide receivers. To Dan, what have you seen from Kayshon Boutte so far in that regard?
The same as everybody else, working hard. I think that he's gotten in better shape as we started to go on to the OTAs, and I think that's really started to help him as we stack plays together and we're trying to string in the game, you don't just take a play on and just come off and then go back and hopefully you can string together 4 or 5 plays as we work down the football field. So I think that he's working to do that, and I like his attitude. I enjoy his willingness to continue to improve and maybe do some things a little differently.
Mike, how have you liked the pace of practice? We've only been out here for one of them, but it looked like it was relatively intense. Or a couple, guys on the field.
That means a lot coming from you, Phil. Thank you.
Pretty good gauge. I'm a pretty intense guy myself. But how do you strike the balance between, you don't want guys to be competitive, but you also don't want guys...
Yeah, I think that's the biggest coach speak in the spring is you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. It's like compete but stay up. Compete, but the receiver has the right to the football. We can't go through the back of them. I think that the energy is there. I think the urgency is there. I like to see guys running off the field, coming out on the field, to take the field, to be ready to go, breaking the huddle, lining up, having an urgency to which we practice, and I think all those things hopefully will lead to better execution.
Mike, there have been a lot of questions on observations about your involvement in practice. Watching the other day was interesting to see your coaching one-on-one with players from different backgrounds, different paths here, different positions. How important is it for you, and it may sound obvious, to coach all 90 guys on your roster here and then into the summer?
Well, I think it's important. I think I enjoy it. I like it. I love it. I try to be as knowledgeable at every position as I possibly can, some more than others. We reference the quarterback. But having something at each position group that can maybe translate from my perspective to help the player. But then I also think that, where the head coach is probably what the players think are important. So I try to be a little bit everywhere.
Coach, as you implement a new defensive scheme, but still with a lot of veterans, how do you feel the communication has been with these units early on in camp?
Good. I think that when we split the squads up, I hear both fields talking and communicating. And there's going to be times, hopefully, a lot of times at our home games where the defense is going to have to signal, hand signal, eye contact, nonverbal communication because it's loud. We've created a great environment by the way that we're playing, and our fans are embracing that. So I think that that's always important. And then obviously offensively, when we go on the road, we're going to have different silent counts and be on the same page in a loud environment.
Mike, where did the hands-on?
One final question, guys.
The hands-on come from within you? Was it just a transition from your playing days? You seem to be a lot more hands-on than most coaches, in a good way, with working with every single player.
When I got to Ohio State, they didn't leave the manual underneath the desk, so I just kind of went with whatever I felt like was best for me and fit my style, and it's kind of stuck. Thank you.